After what's being described as low-intensity IED blasts, police in conjunction with the National Investigation Agency are undertaking a thorough investigation in the Kerala bomb blast case. Kerala has been a soft target for extremist activity in the recent years, with the South Indian state being one of the hotbeds of recruitment for the dreaded Islamic State of Iraq and Syria in India. The latest information we have received is that a man by the name of Dominic Martin has surrendered at the Kodakra police station in Thrissur, taking responsibility for these blasts. Who is really behind this terror attack, and can this person be taken seriously, or is this just a case of mistaken identity? We'll talk about this with our guest, Major General P.K. Sehgal, Senior Defence Expert, with us on the program. Mr. P.K. Mishra, Internal Security Expert, also joins us on the show. In fact, I'm going to go to the big screen and give you some details before we get our guests involved and get their perspective on what's really happening in Kerala. It is a concern for all of India to actually focus and try to determine where is Kerala going wrong. Of course, the details that we know so far is, of course, the first incident that happened. 3 people torched a Tamil Nadu state bus demanding the release of Abdul Nasir Mahadani, who's, of course, affiliated with a terror organization. So these are perhaps incidents that we are telling you that could have connected what transpired today in this trail up. The incident took place in 2005. The place was Ernakulam in Kerala. So this is not a very recent phenomenon. This has been going on for quite some time now. Incident number 1, of course, talked about the perpetrators and the organization. The Tadia Yantavade, Nazir, an LET militant, and 2 others were in fact responsible for this incident that we know of so far. The second incident, what really happened was that 2 bomb blasts in quick succession took place between 12:30 p.m. and 1 p.m. at 2 locations inside the KSRTC and the Mofussil bus stands in Kozhikode. And this was, of course, incident number 2, which took place in 2006, right after 2005. And remember, the UPA 1 was the government at the centre at that point in time. And of course, it was Kozhikode, Kerala, where this incident took place. There haven't been too many learnings from what transpired in Kerala since a couple of decades now, because that's how long it has been. And once again, the perpetrators were from the same organization, LET militants, and others were, of course, responsible for what happened in Kozhikode in Kerala as well. Today's incident will obviously bring out these episodes from the past as well. Incident number 3, what happened? 21 people from Kerala left for Afghanistan and joined the terrorist group Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. And as you know, ISIS, when it came into existence in 2012, was a dreaded organization, and this, of course, led to an incident in Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. And since then, there have been whispers, there have been murmurs that the ISIS has not only been recruiting people very aggressively in Kerala, but the funding that the ISIS got from Qatar and other affiliate nations in the Gulf had also gone up. Of course, the perpetrators was the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. The ISIS, now they are considered to be disbanded and dismantled, but of course that is not true. They may be out of Syria and those other places, but they continue to have some sort of an influence and presence in Kerala. Incident number 4, 8 ISIS terrorists were named in an NIA charge sheet for radicalizing, recruiting Muslim youths through social media. Twitter, now known as X, was the platform that was used to communicate with these people, and the year this incident took place was in 2021. Remember, it was the peak, the zenith of COVID, and this was an opportune moment to in fact seek out youngsters who had fragile minds and basically target them and convert them and radicalize them. Of course, the Islamic State has claimed responsibility for radicalizing a number of youths throughout the world, and Kerala, of course, has been one of the very few places in our country that these actions have been made possible. And still, the gravity and, of course, the seriousness of these influences was never analyzed to the fullest. The next incident was, of course, through Najib Ali, a 23-year-old engineering student from Kerala who was killed in Afghanistan. And this also created shockwaves throughout the nation. And the year was 2022, and this was in Afghanistan. Very little information had come out at that point in time, but upon probing, it was discovered that the ISIS was once again responsible for this particular action. And the ISIS, as we all know, was led by Abu al-Baghdadi, who was neutralized by the Donald Trump government in 2019. In fact, a number of his successors were also neutralized. And we move on, we talk about the next incident. The Voice of Khorasan, an Islamic State magazine from Afghanistan, told a story about Abu Bakr al-Hindi, who was born in Kerala and killed while fighting for the ISIS. And this took place in Libya in 2022. So there were people who in fact volunteered to join the ISIS, go and fight abroad in countries like Libya, who were completely destroyed because of radicalization. And it was the Islamic State once again. So there is a clear connection, there is a clear bridge between what happens in Kerala and what happened in Kerala throughout these incidents, and why the Islamic State has found such a place or a home for radicalization. I'm going to go across to General P.K. Sehgal and get his perspective on what really is going on over here. General Sehgal, if you can hear me, sir, thank you for speaking with NewsX.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Well, sir, this is not a case which can be detached from all the episodes I have recounted for our viewers as well as you that have transpired in Kerala. But yet, the deterrents that should have been created by successive and the current governments have not been up to the mark. Why, according to you, is Kerala such a fertile ground for radicalization, and that too for an organization like ISIS, which does not find too much of a holding ground in a number of countries where they were born, including Syria and Libya and Lebanon?
In fact, your question is a very thought-provoking question. I had gone to Kerala some years back with a view to train the principals there on what is skill-based education and what is digital India and how it can be applied at the university and the school level. To my entire utter horror, I realized that 98.4% had no idea what is skill-based education and what is digital India at that point of time. Kerala, I found, was the most literate state in the country with the highest number of unemployed or dissatisfied youth. And when you are highly educated and you do not get a job, your mind is fertile to be radicalized. Unfortunately, the government there has been a communist government or a communist left-leaning governments, and they have not taken this aspect seriously at all. It's very, very sad that despite occurrence of such events again and again and again, this continues to happen because the maximum number of radicalization for ISIS that has taken place in this country are from Kerala only. And then the People's Front of India has also been very active there, though it's been banned by the present dispensation. In addition, there is the LET, etc., still continues to function in that state. And it is for this reason that this sort of a thing keeps happening. As far as the current event is concerned, the investigations are on. It would be premature to point out fingers at any one state, whether it was ISIS or whether it was PFI or whether it was LET or whether it was somebody else. But definitely it is one of these organizations that are involved. There were 3 serial blasts, 2 to 3 serial blasts, ID tiffin based, and they caused a huge amount of. One lady died and about 52 people, as per the DGP, are in various hospitals at this point of time. 18 of them are in the ICU. There was an eviction plan already made. That means the organization, the Christian organization that was holding this, they were expecting that this thing could happen. Hence, they had already made a plan to evict people speedily, and that plan was immediately put into practice. Had it not been put into practice immediately, perhaps the number of people who got injured would have been even a lot more. 52 injuries is not a small thing, and there were lots and lots of fires that took place there. And it is very important that we get down to who the perpetrators were and what was the motivation behind them. Because as yet we do not know the motivation behind them. Did they have any connection with Hamas? Did they have any connection with any terrorist organization outside the country? Or was it primarily meant for some sort of a warning to the government government of the day, keeping in view that elections are going to be held in five states, and there is a lot of dissatisfaction on number of issues. Like, for example, lack of jobs. People are getting educated, but they're not getting jobs. Or if they're getting jobs, they are not getting jobs which are commensurate with the qualification that they required. Unfortunately, as far as Kerala was concerned, I found 98.4% children wanted to be only doctors or engineers. and there's no much of there's a certain amount of maximum number of people who can be absorbed in engineering and doctors. So there was far more available engineers and doctors than what the state could absorb and what could be absorbed even countries outside, mostly the Middle Eastern countries. And it is for this reason that they get totally dissatisfied, and a dissatisfied mind works in several directions. They are a raw material easily available for radicalization, and organizations like PFI, ISI, LET, they're looking for such people. And that
but
is
so
why
the PFI has been banned. The PFI has been banned. Do you think that banning them is not enough, because they will, come about afresh in a new avatar?
this is not the first time that PFI has been banned. PFI
Same thing happened with Simi as well. Same thing happened with Simi also.
Correct. You're absolutely right. They come up again in a much more virulent form. So when they come up in a much more virulent form, will be known only. They change their names, but continue to function under a new name.
Right. Let me also take a response from Mr. P.K. Mishra, internal security expert, on what's going on here. Mr. Mishra, thank you for joining us, sir. I hope you can hear me. Well, like already established, Kerala is a hotbed for terrorist activities and recruitment and radicalization. The centre has taken a stand when it comes to Hamas. It has taken a stand when it comes to Israel. It's taken a stand when it comes to PLO. It's already taken a stand when it comes to a number of terrorist organizations. We keep enunciating what we need to do at the UN as well. But when it comes to Kerala, do you think there have been lapses at the central as well as the state level? And that is why, a lot of these misses keep cropping up, and the radicalization aspect does not seem to be going away?
You are absolutely correct in asking me this question. I was listening to Thrissur, but I can well tell you I am frequenting to Kerala every alternate month. And from the time these young youths where they joined ISIS, that in Iraq, Iran, and Libya also, I have gone there several times. I had a discussion with ex-DG Police, Mr. Behra, also in Kerala. But I could study the ground that things are very bad. If I compare Kerala with Kashmir, the Kashmir, of course, now it has been controlled, but Kerala is totally out of control. If any state which is giving maximum trouble to the government, to India, it is Kerala only. The whole maximum youths joined ISIS, that is from Kerala. And this particular aspect which has happened today morning, it may be or it may not be after effect of Friday's speech of from Qatar, the Hamas spokesman from Qatar. Of course, Malipuram, it was their city. He arranged it at Malipuram. But so far, no action has been taken by Kerala police. Jal Cycle told very clearly, worst part of it, Kerala police is totally silent. The government of Kerala is totally silent. Our MAC, the way they are walking, I mean, the center and the state in security and intelligence agency, they sit together, they discuss about this also. But there is a gap with Kerala state. Otherwise, such type of things cannot happen. You are correct. We have got sleeper cells of ISIS. We have got sleeper cells of LET. We have got sleeper cells of Jamaat al-Islami also. That I have every doubt that this may be the handiwork of JEI also. And we have got also from even the Simi is also there. As you told, Simi has not died. You can ban an organization like it is all banned in Pakistan. The same person, they come up with different names. It is also happening in India. But Kerala is a state. The worst part of it, I am seeing Kerala every alternate month. I am going to Kerala, and I know this thing in the particularly. But Kerala is not Thiruvananthapuram. You go Kozhikode. You see the IUML meeting which was attended by even Mr. Shashi Tharoor. He attended this.
Correct.
This at Kozhikode. Something very surprising happened. And the way the statements are coming up from very political agents about this today's blast and Friday speech of Hamas chief from Qatar. The way they are telling, I mean, they are praising Palestine, but practically covering up Palestine, but underground they are praising the Hamas work. In fact, we have to be very cautious of Kerala. The thing which Sohaib has told, that Hamas is not, repeat, not a terrorist organization which is not banned in India. That is what even Israel ambassador in India, he also narrated the same thing, that India has not banned Hamas like that of ISIS. But that is what he told, that this is not the first meeting which was organized in Kerala. We will do it everywhere in India. He's challenging the authority of government of India. And police should have taken some action on Friday after the speech who has organized this at Malipuram. Things are very bad in Kerala. Lapse of security agencies, not only of the state, even from the, if that is so, the state is not doing it, the center should intervene. And number of militant groups now operating in Kerala, if it is well proved that they are there, and they are visiting Iraq and Syria and all these places.
And Kerala, sir, is a coastal state. You know, it's a coastal state, and even if you learn from what happened in 2008 in Mumbai, you know, there's a clear-cut chance that something of that sort can be attempted again through Kerala.
Yes, you see the whole of beach, the whole of Thrissur. You see, with a few points of Coast Guard or naval points, you cannot just check these things. You go to Dwarkatis. You go to Dwarkatis, thousands and thousands of boats, they go inside the sea for fishing, and you do not know how many of them they will be passing or contacting Pakistani boats en route. You cannot check all the thousands of boats every day going from Dwarkatis. The same thing happening in Kerala also. We have to be, particularly the Coast Guard police station, they should be actionized. We must have to gear up this Coast Guard police station, and particularly the MAC is failing in Kerala. I repeat, the MAC is definitely failing. Otherwise, if it is known that all these organizations are having their sleeper cells available in Kerala and such things are coming up, just see. The improvised explosive device with time device, with the time switch in a tiffin box, it's available.
Right.
It's not that it cannot be prepared in 2 days. Suppose the meeting was there in Malipuram on Friday and today morning the blast was there at 9:30. It may be after effect of that. It may not be. But ID experts are available. Items are, this type of explosives are available. Couriers are there, people are keeping it, and we must have to.
Right, and General Sehgal, you know, the important point here is the admission that Hamas is a terrorist organization. Why do you think the government of India is reluctant to do that? And do you think that, you know, it could also be a fair enough reason to not do that at this point in time? Because if you look at what Israel is doing, you know, we call them our allies. And if you look at the Israeli ambassador, he's already pleaded to the Prime Minister that India should declare them as a terrorist organization. Is this an independent foreign policy that we are pursuing at this point in time? Or do you think we're really being circumspect in recognizing what the Hamas stands for? Because it could be sending a different message even to these terrorist organizations.
You made a very interesting point that it is reflective of India's changed foreign policy, and secondly, we are being circumspect. I think we've been saying loud and clear the time has come for the world to first come to a acceptable definition of who's terrorist and what constitutes terrorism. Despite India's best attempts for about 20-25 odd years, there's been no acceptable definition of it, and I don't think in the near future it's going to be an acceptable definition either. If you notice, China did not declare them a terrorist organization. Turkey hasn't declared them. Iran hasn't declared them. Russia hasn't declared them. And as far as India is concerned, what Hamas
But so when it comes to China, they are even reluctant to name Lashkar-e-Taiba as a terrorist organization because, of course, it is something which emanates out of their favorite ally, that is Pakistan. So that is what I'm saying. Do these camaraderies and these friendships also come in the way of foreign policy?
To some extent, yet it does come into play. But India definitely has now a very crystal clear foreign policy. We are growing a superpower of our own, and we do not accept the dictates of any country, whether they are our friends or they may not be our friends. India has a foreign policy of its own. We have a mind of our own. If you recall, what Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and INA did was something similar to what Hamas has done. INA went and shook hands with the greatest enemies of Britain at that point of time, Germany as well as Japan. And do we consider INA or Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose as a terrorist or INA as a terrorist organization? Possibly India does realize that what the Israelis had done over the last 65 to 70 years, they have denied Palestinians all their rights. Netanyahu settled 700,000 Israelis in East Jerusalem and West Bank on lands that belong to Palestinians. Every single day over the last 65 to 70 years, 10 to 15 Palestinians have been done to death on a daily basis. The third most important religious site of theirs, Al-Aqsa Mosque, has been totally taken over by the Israelis. Then the Golden Dome, which was created 1500 years back, and it says that Prophet Muhammad went to heaven through that rock. They want to destroy that golden dome and construct a Jewish temple on that. So all these things are somewhere responsible for perpetrating what Hamas has done. So who actually is responsible for what is happening there in Gaza? Whether it was Israel responsible all the way or whether it is Hamas responsible, what they did on 7th October was something that was totally unacceptable. The barbarity that they unleashed is something that ought to be condemned, and we condemned it in strongest possible terms. But if you notice, India modified its stand 5 days later and said, if you want a permanent peace in that area, Palestine must be created. 2 states is the only way of resolving that issue. If you don't give Palestine a separate status as an independent state and you do not vacate their territories where you put the settlers, etc., there will be no peace.
You're right, sir. You're right, sir. We've almost run out of time as well. Mr. Mishra, everybody is, speculating at this point in time. Is this directly connected to what's happening in Israel and Hamas? Joe Biden went to the extent of saying that, Hamas wanted this disruption because, India wanted a corridor to the Gulf. India wanted a corridor to that part of the world. That's how far a thought that the President of the United States has come up with. So we are not far off when it comes to thinking that perhaps this is also connected to what Hamas did or what happened in Kerala with the presence of Hamas in that particular event.
Yes, it's a fact. What happened, what decision was taken in G20 here in Delhi for that corridor, particularly to connect even Israel to be connected with railways. And this, even Mr. Biden's statement was absolutely in agreement to this, that this may be one of the reasons for which Hamas has attacked Israel. That may be one of the reasons because of this corridor for connecting Israel and the action taken by for the corridor, connecting Israel first. That was gone against Hamas, and Hamas wanted to disrupt it. And with that also, I'm telling you, you cannot bypass Xi Jinping in that, because he's directly involved with this, because this project should not go ahead, because that goes against China's, PLA policy and Xi Jinping policy also for the BRT. So it may be a plan of China through Iran to tell Hamas for this action. Of course, in the Beirut, it was discussed much before about this attack was discussed, so that even Mossad and CIA both could not come to know. They couldn't get an inch of it, how it was planned and how it was then executed on the ground on 7th of October.
Understood, sir. So we've run out of time.
We've correct that this point is there. Yes.
Appreciate you joining us, sir. We in fact have run out of time. General Sehgal, thank you so much for your insights and that valuable perspective that you have given us on this very important debate. We take a short break. Be right back.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.